Hi everyone. I'm excited to talk about healthy hormones today. It's something I'm really passionate about, and I know many of you have lots of questions. And Tommy is here listening as well, having a nice little snooze. So let's get started. Let's start with the basics. So, when we think hormones, most of us think estrogen, progesterone, testosterone, those ones that are related to fertility and that time of the month. But there's tons of different hormones in our body, hormones that control hunger, hormones that control satiety, hormones that control our stress response, thyroid hormones, all kinds of different hormones. So I think it's good to remember that. And there can be all kinds of hormonal imbalances going on, and it's sort of a ripple effect or a domino effect. So one gets off a balance, and then the others kind of fall in line. So if you experience cravings, especially sugar cravings, if you have joint pain, if your hair and nail health seems compromised, if you have anxious thoughts, trouble sleeping, then there's the obvious. If your menstruation is irregular, light, heavy, if you have serious PMS symptoms leading up to your period, mood swings, headaches, there's a whole host of side effects that could be related to hormone imbalances. So, where do we begin? So, if it sounds like your hormones might be out of whack, if you have a feeling something's off, then the best place to start is controlling your blood sugars. So, you might be thinking, I'm not a diabetic, I'm fine, I'm not insulin resistant. I don't eat a lot of added sugar. Okay, well, this still applies to you because I have a client who currently, before meeting with me, she tried to eliminate sugar and she cut out chocolates and things like that, the obvious culprits, but didn't realize that there's sugar in her lunch meat. There's sugar in all kinds of different things, condiments, you name it. It's hidden everywhere. And sugar is well known to spike our blood sugars, but also refined carbohydrates spike our blood sugars. So think pasta, white bread, those sort of things. They also have the same response. So, what we can do to help control our blood sugars is to eat some of these foods like pastas with healthy fats and fiber. That helps to lessen the blood sugar spike, slows things down. That fiber, it doesn't break down as easily in the body, unlike white bread and refined carbs, which are quickly absorbed into the bloodstream. That fiber requires a lot more energy to break it down, and fats as well are the same. So that slows down that process. So if you are having a piece of bread, for example, put on a little bit of ghee or drizzle some olive oil, or perhaps you could spread some avocado on that like toast, and then adding maybe some microgreens or something like that to add some fiber. And nut seeds on there can also help add fiber and lessen the blood sugar response. So that's one way, is making sure to eat some healthy fats and fiber with every meal, and also just moving more. So if you eat a big meal and it spikes your blood sugars, as it will do, and then you sit at your desk for the next 4 to 6 hours at work, then your body isn't able to drive that glucose into your muscles to use it for energy. So get sent to the liver, where it's most likely going to be diverted and sent into fat because you're not moving, you're being sedentary. Versus if you go for a walk after a heavy lunch or dinner, then that is going to allow your liver to transport that glucose to the muscles, so your muscles can uptake that and use it for energy. So more movement is really helpful for controlling your blood sugars and lowering your blood sugar response. So again, even if diabetes isn't on your radar, If you think that you eat a pretty well-balanced diet, there's still lots of things that we can do to help just control our blood sugars better. I'm constantly working on it, and I always have my clients working on that as well. So, interesting little study I found showed that men who had 75 grams of sugar, so that's about like a large soda and a donut, which unfortunately is a very common meal, snack, breakfast for a lot of people, dropped their testosterone by 25% for the 2 hours following that meal. So that just goes to show how big of an impact these foods, especially refined carbohydrates and added sweeteners, can have on our hormones. That's a dramatic drop and very telling. So controlling blood sugars, step one. Supporting your liver is my second tip for having healthy hormones. Because if you're on the pill, if you're in America, then you're exposed to lots of toxins in our foods, in our air, in our environment, in our products that we're using. We're exposed to a lot of chemicals and harmful additives that can be endocrine disruptors. And our liver is working extra hard to detox all of that. Our liver is our detox organ. And so it's been working in overdrive for a while. Think about just being a little kid, getting those smelly fragrances, lotions, things like that we've been putting on our body for all these years, all the things we've been ingesting, perfumes, all of those things. And our liver's job is to kind of get all of that out of there. So we really need to support our liver so that it can do its job and do it well. And some of the things, the main culprits that can cause fatty liver disease and gallstones and gallbladder attacks and things like that, the liver and the gallbladder work together. Fructose is one of the primary culprits. So if you're eating a lot of foods or drinks like soda that have high fructose corn syrup, that fructose is directly sent to the liver, and the liver has to figure out what to do with it because there's really no use in the human body for fructose. So it has to try to get rid of that and purge that. And so when we're drinking sodas with every meal, when we're eating lots of refined foods and processed foods, and we're getting likely a lot of fructose, and our liver is working extra hard to get rid of that. Another one, too, is seed oils. Those can be really damaging for the liver. Again, something the liver is trying to detox. Our body doesn't have a lot of use for those extra omega-6 fats, which we've talked about in the past. I've talked about in a video. So think sunflower oil, safflower oil, canola oil, corn oil, soybean oil. All of those are those omega-6 oils, which we are getting in excess times 10, times 20 even sometimes today. And our liver knows we don't need that much omega-6, and so it's working extra hard to try to eliminate that. So limiting the seed oils. So if you're eating a lot of processed foods, a lot of packaged foods, then keep an eye out in those ingredients. Eliminate fructose, not fruit, whole fruit, just like we were talking about with the blood sugar control. There's the skin with the added fiber, there's added vitamins and nutrients and things that are nourishing for the body. And so it's very different, the fructose, than high fructose corn syrup that we're getting in soda and refined things like that. So remember that. Tylenol is very damaging for the liver. It has to detox that. Liver detoxes and breaks down a lot of our medications and things that we're taking. And the pill. If you are on synthetic estrogen, progesterone, that can build up in the liver as well. And we need to support that detox by just eating liver-loving foods like cilantro is one that is widely known as helping support the liver. Cucumbers are great for the liver, beets, things like that. And just trying to eat real food, I think, is just a good rule of thumb. Things that you can find in the produce section, that are around the perimeter of the grocery store, not in the chip aisle. So those things will help to support your liver, which will help you to detox and regulate your hormones better. Next is your stress response. So we have something called our HPA axis. And the HPA stands for hypothalamus, pituitary, and adrenals. Okay, so those three talk to each other. Hypothalamus and pituitary are in our brain. The pituitary gland releases thyroid stimulating hormones. And then our adrenals, which we've talked about before, those produce cortisol and testosterone, DHEA, things like that. So if we have an HPA axis dysregulation, then those organs are not communicating properly to each other, which means that's going to have an impact on our thyroid hormones. That's going to have an impact on our cortisol. And if our cortisol is up, our cravings are up, our cycle is going to be out of whack, because the cortisol is our stress hormone. And that means that if our stress is up, our body is diverting all of its energy to essentially run from a bear, is the fight or flight response. So your body's in this fight or flight response, thinking that it needs to run from a predator like our ancestors did, but we're chronically in this state. It's not acute one-time instance every now and then. We're chronically overworked, we're chronically overstressed, which means we're chronically outputting too much cortisol. And that tells our ovaries to shut it down. We don't have time for baby making. We don't have time to digest our meal properly, telling our gut not to do its job because we are running from this predator, when in reality, that's not happening at all. So HPA axis dysregulation can cause a whole lot of issues. And some of the obvious ways to help balance that are to reduce stress, which I know is easier said than done, but I'm sure that everyone can take one moment and think of something that helps you to kind of unwind. Something that helps you kind of relax your muscles and relax your mind. And we need to just do more of that because we are just chronically in this stressed out state, which is just wreaking havoc on our hormones. So managing our stress response and healing our gut is a big one. So if our gut's leaky, then that's going to send signals to our adrenals, letting our body know we're stressed, that we're under attack. So a lot of those things that we talk about a lot, sleep as well is a big one for that HPA axis, leaky gut, all of those things. You've heard it before, but I have to say it again. Prioritize your sleep hygiene. What are those things that help you to wind down? Probably not staring at Facebook for 3 hours leading up to bedtime. Maybe sitting down and actually reading a book. Or, using a meditation app like Calm or Headspace to help kind of quiet your mind so that you can relax. So all of those things, really important. I know that you hear them all the time, but it's because they are crucial, and especially crucial for your hormones. One that you might not have heard a lot about is endocrine disruptors. And this is one I work on a lot with my clients because people don't realize how much the chemicals and solvents and pesticides, herbicides disrupt our internal ecosystem. So these endocrine disruptors are synthetic hormones, and they come in a lot of different forms. One that many people have commonly heard of is BPA. This is found in plastics. So if you have Tupperware that you have reheated multiple times, then the BPA in the plastics has leached out, it's leached into your food, and I think about 99% of the population has BPA in their system. And a little bit isn't going to cause a lot of problems, but it accumulates over the course of years and years and decades and eventually causes problems. So that's one of the obvious ones. Look for that. You know, most companies now are more aware of that and its effects, BPA. So if you're typing in something, type in BPA free. If you need new appliances or, you know, plasticware or, you know, a new cup or coffee mug or something like that, just type in BPA free and get in the habit of doing that, and it'll come up with tons of different options for you. Another tool that I love is EWG's Healthy Living app. So this app I use all the time for household products and, you know, feminine products and beauty products. So EWG's Healthy Living app, you can type in something, say you're about to run out of body wash and you're not just super obsessed with this body wash, you could take it or leave it. So type in body wash into EWG's app, and it will come up with some that are very low in those endocrine disrupting chemicals and fragrances and dyes, and it will give you options, better options that will help to support healthy hormones instead of sabotaging them. Because our skin is an organ, and it is the largest organ in our body, and I think we tend to forget that. So everything that comes into contact with our skin, it is very likely going to be absorbed into the skin and thus into the bloodstream. And then our liver has to do all that it can to get rid of that. And it can just be a mess, especially if we're using these fragrant, rich body washes and then lotions and creams, and it can just really escalate. And so use that app. If you're about to run out of something, type it in, find a healthier alternative. They're not ridiculously priced, and just slowly start swapping out some of those products that have some of those hormone disrupting fragrances, dyes, and chemicals with healthier alternatives. Another one too is get a good water filter. So if you are drinking from your tap, then you are exposing yourself to thousands of different pharmaceutical drugs. People are excreting these in their urine, and they're getting into our water supply. And our water filtration systems, they're not equipped to deal with all of that and filter out all of those different pharmaceutical drugs and things. So get a good reverse osmosis water filter. You can look on EWG's site for ideas. And make sure that you're getting out that lead, that arsenic, all of those things. Herbicides running off of crops, they're going into the water supply, and then thus we are drinking them. You know, you'd be surprised how many lead pipes are still out there. Your home might have lead pipes, and you might be consuming that lead, which is been proven to reduce your IQ, cause birth defects, things like that. So avoid a lot of these heavy metals and toxins and herbicides by using a good water filter. Don't go and buy a 20-pack of water bottles, because remember, the plastic very likely has BPA. It's been sitting in a warehouse where it's been heated, it's been transported through who knows how many states to get to there, where it's been heated and cooled and heated and cooled, and again, those plastics are leaching into the water. Promise I'm not trying to scare you guys. Just go onto Amazon and get a good reverse osmosis water filter. Brita is a great brand, great trusted brand. Use it, change your filter. You can avoid a lot. Another one that people don't think about a lot is fire retardants, so flame retardants. They put this chemical on everything from furniture to clothes. And it has the chemicals in this flame retardant actually imitate the thyroid hormone. But obviously they're chemicals and they're not thyroid hormone. So what are they doing? They're just disrupting that process and definitely interfering with our hormones. And it's also shown that these fire retardants can lower IQ as well, among a whole host of other issues. So some things that I do, I like to buy used. I buy used clothes. I love to go to the thrift store or Plato's Closet or Ditto, and you know, you're getting cheaper prices. And then on top of that, they've been washed and they've been worn. And so those flame retardants that the companies sprayed on them prior to shipping them, they've been washed and reduced significantly by the time they reach your skin. If you buy new clothes, I don't care how excited you are, wash them first. Wash them in a good non-chemical laundry detergent, please. And just be more aware of that. And especially if you have young ones, because they have found tons of chemicals in, kids' pajama pants and all kinds of things. So anything that's touching your skin, again, our body can absorb that and it will disrupt your hormones. And the dose makes the poison. So a little bit here and there, I get maybe a new outfit every 6 months and maybe I wore it without washing it first. That's not going to cause a problem. But over the course of decades, that's when you're really going to start to see your thyroid being compromised and, poor stress management, anxiety, panic attacks, things like that. It's slow and it's insidious. So I want you guys to be more aware of these things. So wash your clothes, buy used if you can. HEPA vacuum filter can help get the stuff out of your carpet. If you have little ones who are crawling around on the ground, can help to get rid of the chemicals and stuff in there. And again, EWG is a great resource. If you're wondering about your everyday household items, are there better options, then that's a good place to go. One of the last ones I want to mention is nonstick pans. They have been shown to compromise your kidney health and cause thyroid disease. I keep mentioning things related to the thyroid because I know many of you have Hashimoto's, hypothyroidism, and are struggling with that. And so I just wanted to bring these things to your awareness. Stainless steel and cast iron skillets are a much better alternative. They are a pain if you don't take care of them and if you don't season them properly, but the nonstick, the chemicals, they are leaching into our food, and then we are eating that on top of everything else, right? The plasticware that we're using, the pesticides that are sprayed on our foods. By the way, wash your produce, buy organic when you can, and just be more aware of these things, okay? I'm not again saying these things to scare you. I just want you guys to be in the know, because I know how helpless and frustrating it can be when your hormones are just working against you. And there is hope if you can control your blood sugars, if you can help support your liver so that it can detox all of this crapola. Getting a good sweat on is also a good way to release a lot of the toxins. And then also, helping your adrenals and your pituitary, that HPA axis we talked about, by doing things to help you relax and unwind and manage your stress. Whatever will help you to fall asleep and stay asleep as well will be really helpful for that organ relationship. And then avoiding those endocrine disruptors that are found in our everyday products. It is overwhelming and they are everywhere and they're impossible to avoid completely, but just start by downloading the app, the EWG Healthy Living app. And when you run out of something, whether it's laundry detergent, whether it's body wash, toothpaste, type it in there. Maybe what you're using is great, and it will show you that. It will rate it on a scale and tell you where it lies. Maybe it's not the best option. Maybe there are better options that will work just as well. And you can find those, and you and your family will benefit from that. And it's not going to be night and day from one day to the next just because you gotten a cleaner body wash. But slowly over time, your body will start to heal and the toxic burden will be lessened, and your hormones will start to regulate. And so I hope that this video has been helpful for you guys. I hope it hasn't been overwhelming. Just remember some of the key points we talked about. And if you do anything after this video, download that EWG Healthy Living app, because it's been a wonderful resource for me and for my clients. And I know it will be for you too. All right, ladies, thank you so much for joining me today, and good luck on your journey towards healthier hormones.